is up, my friends? It is good to see you. Well, I mean, not see you, but it's good to see you like through that small hole on the screen. But if you haven't met, my name is Martin. I'm the Gathering Students Pastor. Welcome to I have no idea what number live at Thrive this is, but like it's the end of April, so it's that numbereth live at Thrive. But we always start Thrive the same way, which maybe seems kind of silly because we're not in the same place, but I just think it's important that we all tell each other this in this weird time that we're living in. But find the people right around you and just let them know three things. Hi, my name is blank. I'm glad you're here today, and you sure do look pretty. So you say that to the people right around you. And I know that we're all looking pretty, even though we may have done some weird haircut things during quarantine time. I mean, I did my own hair this week, and I got exactly what I paid for, which is fine. I tried trimming the beard, and yeah, it's not great. I hope if you've been doing that at your house, it's gone better than it has for me. But one of the things we've been asking every week at Thrive is, how are you doing? Even just in one word, how is everybody doing? We want to be a place where we are honest, where we are real with one another. And so our question is just, how the heck are you guys? One word, how is everybody doing? Stressed. Yeah, that's real. We've got like a couple weeks left of school, and it's virtual school, which is a thing. Who else? How's everyone else doing? Friends, how are we doing this week? Happy. All right. Stressed. So a second stressed, some happies. Just keep adding into that chat. The chat's going to be there all night, but we'd love to know how you are doing. So if you were on Instagram today or been on Snapchat in the last 30 minutes, you know that tonight we are playing a game, and there is going to be a prize. You're having pizza sent to your house. So we're going to just hop right into that. Our game tonight is a game called Get That Gold. Now, here is how Get That Gold works. Your job is to be the first person to guess the correct number of coins in Llama Land, where the llama finds coins. So it's really that simple. I'm just going to hop in the chat and type in the number of coins on the screen. It's with some, not that simple, but a couple of little caveats. So we're going to play a couple rounds, and everyone who wins one of these rounds will be entered into our final round, and the winner of that will, again, receive a free pizza delivered from us to you. So here we go. This is round one. We're gonna hop ahead to level 2 because it just seems. Let's just jump into the advanced stages, I think. So level 2. How many gold coins are there, plus the number of current U.S. presidents, like U.S. presidents who are the president right now. While we're doing this, I need to make sure I can send a pizza to the middle school winner from the last round. So how many gold coins are there, plus the number of current U.S. presidents? Let's see here. 54. No. No, like U.S. presidents who are currently right now the president of the United States. It's not 12, not 52, not like have ever been the president, but like right now are the president of the United States. We have. There we go, guys. Sorry, that was a little bit of a trick question. I'm glad we all kind of came around to it. The answer is 1. There's 1 U.S. president. So there are 10 coins plus U.S. presidents. So, Susanna Bowers, we're going to throw you the win for round number 1 in level 2. So you are qualified for our final round. Let's jump ahead to level 3. Here we go. How many gold coins are there multiplied by the number of legs a llama has? How many gold coins are there multiplied by the number of legs a llama has? We've got, that did not take nearly as long as the last round took. There are 36. We have 9 coins up there times 4 legs because, llamas stand on 4 legs. That just makes sense. Yeah, Grace, we're not in school right now, so math, numbers are hard. It's fine. So, fine work. Alex also registered for our final round, and then let's hop ahead to let's go to level 5 for a second. Here we go, dropping down our level 5. Getting closer to Twilight here in Llama Land. And for level 5, what we've got is how many gold coins are there plus the number of dots on one die. So if you roll a die, how many numbers are there on all 6 of those sides plus that number of coins? Let's see. It is not 29. It is not 29. It's not 30. Let's see here. I'm still looking for the correct answer. Not 29, not 30. There's 6 sides of a die. Let's see how we're doing here, friends. There we go. Look at, Grace says she can't math, but that's what math looks like. There are 16 dots on a die, and there are 21 dots on a die, and there are 5 up there. So, oh my gosh, Sadie, that's way too many. Way too many. So, Grace, Alex, Susanna, you guys are our finalists for what is going to be our last round. And again, whoever wins this round, we will send you a pizza with whatever topping you want on it. So, if you are not one of those 3, do all the math in your head, but don't put it in the chat so that we don't want to, give anybody a prize for not winning. That doesn't feel right. Multiplied, yeah, that is a different number. That's fair. All right, that is 21 times 5, so that makes sense. All right, so Susanna, Alex, and Grace, here we go to, we're going to go to the last round 7. And this is kind of a trick question round here at midnight in Llama Land, mostly because there's nothing tricky about it at all. Just how many gold coins are there? We will send the first person who comes up with the right answer a pizza with whatever topping you want, courtesy of Domino's, to your contactless front door. So I am looking for whoever has the correct number. Alex Turley. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. It is, in fact, 28. We have actually the youngest to the next youngest to the oldest. That's a good order. Just by curiosity, if you are not one of those 3 people, how many of you got 28 and how many got something different? Also, Alex, just shoot me a text and let me know what topping you want on your pizza, or no toppings, and it will be there, shortly-ish. Second we're done here, I will get that ordered for you, so shoot that to me in a text. But how many got 28? I'm curious about who in our room is good at mathy things. While you're doing that, here's our Our kind of first question of the night comes from, well, last week we started talking about these 5 practices, these things we practice to experience more of God in our lives. And it's not something we do so that like God will love us more or so we earn God's love. It's not anything like that. These aren't things we practice so that Jesus washes away our sins more than he would otherwise. It's things we do to open ourselves more fully to God's love. And so last week we talked about prayer. Tonight we're talking about serving. And so our first question of the night is, in this weird time when we're living and we can't go to places where like there are servers who are paid to serve us, when was the last time someone served you? Maybe you got carry-out food and someone brought it to you and dropped it off. Maybe you have a parent who made you breakfast and brought it to you in bed. Or, by the way, if you got that situation, let me know how you did it so I can do some of that. Maybe you had someone take out your laundry or your trash. When was the last time that somebody served you? And just throw it on into that chat. By the way, I will have you know that Alex has ordered sausage. In case there's any suspense about what Alex was trying to get on his pizza, that's the answer. Alexis's dad cleaned up her dog's pee while she laid in bed. I don't think that's anyhow serving you, Jesse Lynn, but I love that you are just publicly shaming Alexis. That is freaking hilarious. My mom served me breakfast this morning. That's awesome. 3 weeks ago. Grace today. Yeah, I think it's fun to see like when was the last time that we were served, because it's like not really a serving time right now. And so when we talk about serving, at church we usually think about these big giant things. We think about these things that people do for us, like we do food drives. The last couple of days here at the gathering, we've been doing a food drive for people in our city who don't have access to great nutrition. Or we think about mission trips we go on to serve people. Big things, but serving doesn't have to be this like big ordeal, this big production. In fact, I think serving at its best is done when we are just trying to love the people around us. So our second question, it kind of goes with the first one, but in reverse, is what have you done to help or serve someone else during social distancing? What have you done to bless the life of somebody else? What have you done to encourage someone, to show someone love, to show someone kindness? Just a random act of love and joy in the world. Alexis, you were afraid he peed on your floor. Then you should definitely have dealt with that. That feels like this is entirely your issue. Coffee 10 minutes ago? All right. It was traumatic. I'm sorry, Alexis. It does still feel like it was a little bit your fault, but I don't know what to do with that. But friends, yeah, what have you done to help or bless somebody else while we've been doing this social distancing thing for the last month and a half? Put your neighbor's trash on the curb. Phoebe, that's awesome. I love that. Puff pastries to your friends on their birthday. Say, let me know like how we get to the Moore Bakery, and I will come pick up some of those treats. Your dad was close to the cleaning supplies. Alexis, we've left behind the dog peeing on your carpet. But I mean, it's still a funny story. We're still talking about Nick not doing his thing. I biked to my friend's house and we talked for a while. That's awesome. I hope you kept your distance. But I assume that you all are responsible, so you would do that. But that's really, really cool. Who else? How have you guys loved your neighbors and the people around you in the last couple days? Let's see here. Well, keep typing that in. We're going to go ahead, but I want to keep seeing the ways that you guys are being loved in the people around you's lives. Worked the food drive today. Alex, that's awesome. It's like literally across the street from your house. So that's the easiest. I love that. Sometimes it doesn't have to be big. You can just be walking down the block. Repotted some plants and dropped them off to people. Jesse Lynn, that's awesome. I think my wife would like to join you in the repotting world. But if you've ever been on one of our mission trips, Whether that's Camp Barnabas or one of our other trips, or maybe leaders, you've been on trips, on mission trips in your life, you know that even though we're the ones who go to serve, we're the ones who go to help other people, whatever that means, what's true of going on a trip where we are meant to serve our neighbors is that ironically, we are often the ones who receive. We are the ones who experience love in new and radical ways. We learn the lessons that love has to teach us on these trips. So if you've been on one of our mission trips before, or on any mission trip before, on a trip where we have gone to serve somebody, I'd love you to share what is a lesson that you have learned on a mission trip. It doesn't have to be, like I said, a gathering mission trip. It can be a trip you took when you were in college if you're a leader. It can be a trip you took with school or an experience you had with school. But what is a lesson you learned because you experienced love? What is a lesson you learned from people on a mission trip? Let's see here. Grace, I love this story about these class of 2020 car parades. Guys, it sucks. Those of you who are seniors, that you're kind of getting the last couple of months of your senior year stolen from you. I can't imagine what that's like, but I've seen videos of things like this, and that's incredible. It's making something that's not great and making the best of it. I love seeing those things. But like I said, if you've been on a mission trip with us, or with anybody, what is something you've learned from serving others? Again, maybe it wasn't a trip. Maybe it was just an experience you had with your school or with family. Let's see here. Well, again, keep typing. I'm going to keep swiveling over to the chat. But the reason I think we learn things when we are loving people, when we are serving people, when we are helping people, is it's tied to a story that Jesus tells in the Gospel of Matthew. It's at the end of the Gospel of Matthew, and the Gospel of Matthew is just the first of the 4 stories of Jesus' life. And Jesus tells a story about this day of judgment. And in front of him are these 2 groups. There's the sheep and the goats. And Jesus looks at the sheep and says, you all gave me water when I was thirsty. You all clothed me when I was naked. You visited me when I was in prison. You gave me food to eat when I was hungry. You welcomed me when I was a stranger and when I was homeless. You loved me. And the sheep are like, Jesus, we didn't ever see you naked because that's weird. Ain't no one seen Jesus naked. I mean, it feels weird. And we didn't ever give you water. We didn't see you thirsty. We didn't, Jesus, what are you talking about? We didn't do any of that for you. And Jesus says, when you did it for the least of these, you did it for me. When you loved the people who didn't have a chance to pay you back, you did that for me. When you showed kindness to the homeless woman, you were showing kindness to me. And the same thing is true of the goats. Jesus says, you didn't give me water when I was thirsty. You didn't welcome me in when I was a stranger and homeless. You didn't give me something to eat. And they're like, Jesus, we never saw you naked. We couldn't give you clothes. We've never seen you thirsty or hungry, so we didn't know what to give you. And he says the same thing. When you didn't give it to the least of these, you didn't offer it to me. And what I love about this story, I first heard it when I was on a mission trip myself when I was in high school to New Orleans. And we were going to serve the summer after Hurricane Katrina. And I happened to get like 6 stitches on the top of my head. It involved doing pull-ups on a kitchen cabinet. It's not a good story. Anyways, I heard this story, and what I learned about God in this moment is that the more time we spend serving the least of these, serving people and expecting nothing in return, when we love people sacrificially, we are experiencing Jesus. We are literally meeting Jesus. So the more we serve, the more we're opening ourselves to meet and experience Jesus. The more we are experiencing love in the world. I love these lessons Jesse Lynn, Alex, thank you for sharing. When we serve, we are experiencing the love of Jesus in the world because we are serving Jesus. And that reframes how we think about serving. It reframes like the us and the them. And the more we serve, the more we go out of our way to love our neighbors, the less it becomes a thing we have to do to check off the list. And the more it becomes a habit, the more it just bubbles out of us. The more it becomes who we are. Paul, the guy who wrote like most of the New Testament, he says that we are the hands and feet of Christ. As people who follow Jesus, we are the hands and feet of Jesus. Meaning that where we go, we are leaving the fingerprints of Jesus everywhere we go. So it's like when we are serving people, we are meeting Jesus in the other person, but they are also experiencing the love of Jesus from us. It's like a Jesus meets Jesus interaction, which seems really weird, but also like profound. Like when we're serving, we are offering Jesus, but we're also receiving Jesus. That's why the more we practice it, the more we open ourselves up to experience the love of God. We get to be participants in the story that God is telling in the world. And over time, we are becoming love in the world. So my student pastor when I was in high school, his name was Travis. So he was me to you. He was to me what I am to you. I think that's how that works. I'm not good at math. I apologize. But last summer, he put out this equation that he created. So if you're like, I'm over math, like Grace, I am feeling you, I'm with you, then this maybe isn't for you. But he explained this in maybe the strangest but like best way I've ever seen this explained. He said, this was his equation. He said, I know that's like the Spock, live long and prosper symbol, but it's also a Jewish symbol for the presence of God. And so there's a Jewish blessing where a rabbi will hold the symbol over the people and say, I am blessing you with the presence of God in this place. So we're going to let this be God, which I know, it's weird. But if God is love and Jesus, the cross, is God, then Jesus is love. Kind of straightforward so far. So if that's true, and Jesus is the embodiment of love, and you are the embodiment of Jesus, then you are the embodiment of love. You are the embodiment of love. And if those two things are true, then what love does is what you do. The more we spend time becoming like Jesus, the more time we spend practicing loving our neighbors, the more we become love. And after a while, the things that love does in the world, serving our neighbors, loving the people around us, that becomes what we do. What love does, you and I do as followers of Jesus. That's what it means to serve and love our neighbors. I know this is math and it's complicated and there's emojis and it doesn't make much sense, but if Jesus is love and you and I are the embodiment of Jesus, if we are the hands and feet of Jesus, that means that we embody love, and that means that what love does, we do too. And the truth is that love does not just go on big trips. It doesn't just take special times to love our neighbors. We can serve our neighbors in any moment because everybody is our neighbor. Last fall, we gave out these shirts, just said, live the mission, because we believe that God has a mission for us in the world, and that mission is to become love. To become people who are expressing love everywhere we go. So when we ask, how and where can we serve? The question is everywhere, because love sends ripples out in every direction. Love goes out. When we are becoming love, we are becoming people who love out. And so there are times when we love like just the people in our own house, just our families. And then we love the people on our blocks. Maybe you're like me and you didn't know all your neighbors super well before this, but I've gotten to know my neighbors so much better. And we've learned how to love one another, what we need from each other. Then we ask, what can we do to love our city? What can we do to love Webster and Kirkwood and U City and Clayton and St. Louis and this whole region? And then what can we do to love the world, this country, this world that's kind of in crisis right now? People who are trying to be the hands and feet of Jesus are becoming love. And when we become love, what love does, we do. And love ripples out. So in core groups tonight, we're actually just going to talk about that. Just how can we love one another? And like in each of these circles, like truly, we're going to brainstorm. How do we love the people in our homes? How do we love people in our cities? So on and so forth. So real quick, our last question before we break off is just simply this. Is it easier for you to help and serve someone closer to the middle of that graph or the people who are a little further away? Like, is it easier for you to go out of your way to do small, kind things for your family? Or maybe the people right around you? Or it's sometimes easier for you to show love to people that you've never met, but you can kind of be anonymous, like doing big things for people that might impact all over the place. Who is it easier for you to show signs of love to? Is it easier for you to show love to people right around you who you have to live with forever? Or is it easier for you to show love to people you'll never meet, but it's kind of anonymous? If you look at that graph, who is it easiest for you to love? And we're all different, and that's the whole point of it. God made us all different with different gifts. So we can love people with different skills, different gifts. We have different things to offer people. And so while you're answering that in the chat, just a couple things. One, if you want to know what's going on, we always say follow us here on Instagram. It's the best place to know what's going on with Gathering students. And secondly, if you're looking for a way to serve people right now, the Red Cross has been forced to cancel like 20,000 blood drives around the country because of this situation. And so now that they've kind of figured out how to hold a blood drive with some social distancing principles, the Gathering is going to host one for the American Red Cross over the next couple of weeks once it turns to May. They'll be here at McCausland or over the Clayton site, and it's simply a way for us to offer what we have to love the world around us. So if you're interested in donating blood, if you've never donated blood, now's a great time to start. I've given blood a number of times. I've been passed out because I didn't eat breakfast. Eat or drink things before you give blood. But that's one way that we can be love in the world this week. The last thing I'll say before we head off to core groups is next week we are going to have a party outside. Okay? We're going to have a party. And so come to Thrive, even though we're not here, in a costume. And bring your favorite dessert with you to core groups and share it. So bring your ice cream and hot fudge, bring apple pie, bring cake, bring brownies, whatever it is that you want to bring to core group and share it. If you are in the sophomore core group, I think we can all just say that's Tom's anything that he's ever made. But bring that to core group. We're going to have a costume party, and we're going to have a dessert party because core group should still be fun, even if we're in this weird time in the world. But friends, otherwise, hop into those core groups. The same links as last week. Should have heard from your leaders. Whatever you used to log on last week, it's the same this week. We love you guys. I can't wait to see you in person. And until then, enjoy core groups tonight, and I will see you soon.